Welcome back to another PuckPod by BD Sports. This is episode 55. If you're coming here from the Shohei Ohtani video, welcome. If you're here just for hockey stuff, we could get right into it. Cristian, what is our first topic of this week?
Well, you talked about we're coming off Shohei stuff, so not hockey. That was baseball. Let's talk some more not hockey. Let's talk about the NBA in-season tournament, the IST, that LeBron James and the Lakers captured against the Indiana Pacers last night to win the first ever NBA Cup. LeBron takes MVP.
Of course.
Yeah, listen, this is a developing story in the sense that it's a first of its kind. Across the North American sports, at least the closest thing that we have to this is probably in Europe, like the different championships that go on in soccer, right? Like the FA Cup and stuff like that. There isn't just the league title. There's other stuff that goes on. So yeah, it seemed like it was a smash hit in the NBA. Attendance, ratings, intrigue, everything just seemed bigger for regular season games, at least. The finals and the semifinals took place in Vegas. The players on the winning team got 500K. The players on Indiana, I think, got 250. So yeah, like, how do we think that this went? Especially compared to when we had first heard about this. Because I remember when I first heard about this, I was not really that interested. I felt like it was pointless. It felt like just a bit of
Cash grab.
a cat, not even a cash grab, just more of like a gimmick. Like it
Yeah.
felt like unnecessary, maybe. But I can't be anything but compelled after watching some of it and seeing the results that
Dude,
it's had.
I think okay, like granted the Pacers lost, but
Yeah,
if a team
they
like
got
the
the perfect
Pacers,
final.
dude, if a team like the Pacers ended up pulling off, especially against LeBron's, Lakers,
Yeah.
dude, that would have been like what a way to start off your tournament. Like that, like the Pacers are what are they in the are they're definitely under 500 in the regular season.
Actually, no, I want to say they're better than that. I couldn't tell you their actual record.
Are they a fringe playoff team right now?
If I had to guess, I want to say they were like fourth. They were like between like
Oh,
maybe
really?
sixth and fourth. Yeah, like they
Oh,
are on the
dude,
come up.
the way that everybody was talking about the Pacers was like,
Yeah,
dude, they were like the
out of
15
nowhere.
seed. Yeah,
Yo, they're
like they were
basically
like
just
the
as bad
Detroit
as the Detroit
Pistons.
Pistons. Yes, yeah,
The
yeah. There
3
you
and
go.
21 Detroit Pistons.
The
Oh, dude,
17, or no,
I
sorry,
was
19
okay.
losses in a row.
They're 12 and okay, they're 12 and 8. So like
Okay,
sure. I
okay,
mean, dude,
yeah,
the Lakers are 14 and 9. They're in the
yeah,
exact same spot in each of their respective conferences. So it's
okay,
okay, fair
okay,
enough. Okay, fine.
yeah,
The way that everybody, I guess, because it's like LeBron, you're going up against LeBron,
yeah.
uh, dude. But yeah, they honestly they did they were compelling like the Indiana Pacers haven't been compelling people since like I don't
Paul
know.
George.
Paul George was on the team, and I was gonna say before that, like Reggie Miller was on the team. Like that's like
Yeah, yeah,
30 years basically, right?
yeah.
So like Indiana is not the flashiest team. And they're in the finals, and people care. Like they want to watch Tyrese Halliburton just like go off, right? Like
He
it
went.
wasn't.
He went off the whole tournament. He was insane.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like, especially for the finals, and like, stop me if you've like kind of heard this before, but it looked like the people like going to Vegas. It looked like everybody was like kind of like, wow, this is gonna be like a great trip. Like, but also
Yeah,
like they also played they played good basketball. It's not like they were going to Vegas and they just like, they went out partying the night
yeah.
before. They're probably gonna go out partying after the game, winner or lose. They'll probably hang out all together. I'll be honest with you, like most of the NBA guys are like pretty connected with each
Tight.
other. And
Smaller team, more intimate. Yeah.
yeah, they'll just like, they'll mail it in for the semis, for the final. It wasn't like that. Like it was
Money was on the
genuinely,
line, man.
yeah, man. Maybe, dude, is that what you need to get something like that going? Like, okay,
I
I know,
guess I guess the proof is in the pudding though. Like we've seen it. They tried hard, and like there was an interview with D'Angelo Russell, or more of a press conference, where he said if we win this, like that 500K, that covers my next 2 summer vacations, maybe even the All-Star break. And while we laugh at that in terms of, oh my God, 500K, 2 vacations and an All-Star break, what?
It's like,
But
bro, 500K would literally change my
like this
life right
changes,
now.
yeah, literally. For D'Angelo Russell, it's just in pocket change. It's
Yeah.
like when when you like you're listening to the radio and it's like be the 24th caller and you'll get $1,000. That's basically what this was
Yeah.
for D'Angelo Russell. But that was enough. That was enough. Proof is in the pudding to me. Okay, Dave, do you even remember what your initial thoughts were on hearing about the IST? Like, did you think this would have been a success? Were you skeptical?
Yeah, at first I was kind of in the same boat as you. I was like,
Yeah,
this is a gimmick. But the only thing is, like, gimmick, like the NBA can kind of get away with gimmicks. Like,
the
here's
whole
another
off season is a gimmick.
dude. Here's another thing with this tournament. They made the jersey specific for the tournament games.
Yeah,
They switched up the floorboard, which I'm kind
that
of in
one's
the middle on. Yeah,
yeah.
because
No, some
I
some of them looked really nice.
dude, some of them
Some of
were
them were
eyesores. Like they were awful, like
unbearable.
god
Okay,
awful.
yeah,
What
I
was the
agree. Okay,
worst? I wouldn't be able to tell you which one was the worst one, but I know that there's like two, like when there's too many colors going on,
yeah,
it looks like the floorboard is like
yeah,
something of like Squid Game or something like that, dude. I'm
yeah.
like,
That's a good comp.
get it out of it, get it out,
I
get it out.
remember when it first started, like when it was still the group stages, there was a report, I think it was the Dallas Mavericks. Their floor was like faulty, like it was manufactured improperly and it was too slippery.
Oh
So
god.
at that point, everyone was like, "Oh my god, this thing is a joke for real. This is a truly a gimmick." But no, ended up good in the end. Okay, transition here. So the NHL, imagine if they did this. What does their ice look like? Are we putting the Leafs with a dark blue ice? You know, we're bringing back the blue ice, man. Maybe we should do this, Dave. Green
So
ice? Are you down?
I'm I'm kind of like I'm on the fence because listen,
Yeah,
I would like to see the NHL kind of get creative like this, and this is something that I think the NHL could probably end up pulling off. They'll probably end up pulling it off like 10 years from now when like all of this kind of like hype died. Like the NBA wants it to succeed now and 50 years from now. Like they want
they're
this.
pioneers. They're the
They
ones
get
who are willing to risk it and see.
100%.
Let's be the first ones to do this.
Exactly.
NHL is not that.
The NHL is going to end up doing this, give it a run for like 5 years, and every single year, like the numbers, the attendance numbers are going to go down, the
Yeah.
viewing numbers are going to go down, and they're going to be like, oh, we're going to pull the plug. You know what I mean? Like that's what the NHL does. In terms of changing the ice, I'm against that.
Yeah,
Please
I'm
no.
joking about that. Yeah, that would be
I don't
not
think
it. Not at all.
I don't think we could do that. No, no way.
Do you even
But
have the technology for green ice? Like I've actually
dude,
this is something I never thought of. I don't
they
even know
don't
how the
even
blue
have
ice used to work.
they don't even have the technology to put trackers in the puck to check
You're
if the
right.
puck goes over the
You're
line.
right.
Like I am not convinced anybody in the NHL would be willing to change up the ice. And
Yeah.
also okay, it works for the NBA just because like those guys, if you're growing up and you're playing at different courts, like different courts kind of like
The
have their
floor changes
own
all the time.
100%.
You never play on
Ice
the
is
same court.
ice is ice. Like you can't.
Ice is ice.
But what I would
Yeah.
like to see the NHL do is like, make something like as competitive as that. And also like, dude, okay, some of the jerseys were like hit or miss.
Was
But
hit or
that's
miss. I like the Bucks. Like the Bucks to me was really
yeah,
nice. That bright blue one.
there there
I saw
always
some nice
is.
ones.
There
Yeah.
always is like there's like 5 or 10 that are like really nice and 20 of them that are like mid to like ugly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
But even those ugly ones become like cult classics where like a collector will buy it. Like it
yeah,
becomes part of the lore, right? Every sport has ugly jerseys, and some of them are ugly but lovable.
yeah.
And who knows, you might get some of those from like an in-season tournament. Do you think they could pull it off though in the exact same format, or like could there be a tweak NHL wise to make it better? I'm trying to think. Like they did the group stage stuff. Um, they ended up with 4 pretty good matchups in the quarterfinals, and they ended up with a very good final. What I'm worried about in the NHL is that because of the parity, you could end up with like I don't
Arizona.
know, let's say Yeah, I was gonna say Arizona, but honestly, at this point,
They're
Arizona's
playing
they've kind of been
good.
decent. Like I'm thinking, like I don't know, like it's Columbus versus like let's say
The
Minnesota.
Ducks.
Like you could, yeah, the Ducks. Like you just because in the NHL anyone can win on any given night. But
Maybe
does that change when
that's
you're upping the odds? Maybe that's the key here,
maybe
right?
that it just gives the like okay, so I'll use this parallel like in English soccer, right? They have the FA Cup. Now the FA Cup,
Yeah,
it stretches from you're in the cup if you are the first place in the Premier League or you are last place in I believe like the last division of semi-pro English football is like technically the eighth tier, right? Like we'll see teams like that. Okay, now we wouldn't be able to see something like that in North America exactly, but like there's been times like I think a couple of years ago there was a sixth tier FA Cup team and like they're basically semi-pro. Like they were playing in the back of people's backyards. Their stadium held like 400 people. And they were playing a Premier League team. Like they were playing Tottenham Hotspur.
that's insane.
They were getting like, media coverage and that type of stuff. Um, so it's kind of like, it does something to like the fan base and stuff. Like it gets them together. Maybe if you could get something to like if Columbus is making a run right now,
Yeah.
like the Jackets aren't doing too hot. Their playoff success is rather, limited. It's
What
here and
reason
there.
do you have to watch the Blue Jackets, unless you're a Blue Jackets fan right now?
Yeah, right now it's like
And maybe
unless
it
you
would give
want
you
to
a
watch,
reason.
yeah, maybe you just want to watch
Yeah.
Fantilli and it's like,
Maybe I'm looking at
wow,
this wrong.
yeah. Well,
Okay.
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
it gives you a reason to watch teams
Teams you
that
would rather than otherwise.
probably really
Okay.
wouldn't want to watch. Now the only
And I guess that's
concern,
that's it with the Pacers, right?
mhm.
That was what it
Like
was.
I
So okay.
wasn't, I'm not going out there to watch Tyrese Halliburton, like you know what I mean. But
If he shows up on your feed, he shows up on your feed. But you're not saying, "Oh
yeah,
my God, Pacers are playing tonight. Gotta tune in."
but guys like in the NBA, it's kind of like I have added spot like I have added pressure on me. I have this added spotlight on me. Fuck it, let me go out and ball. You know what I mean? Like you know
Yeah.
what I mean? You put up
Yeah.
35 points on a nationally televised game, like people
Yeah.
watch you. Like that boosts up your market value. Like that I think that's why I don't know if the NHL could gets they don't get that though. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. It's always going to be more about the team than the individual, right?
exactly,
It's
yeah.
going to be tough to be like, let's say the Montreal Canadiens are winning. Is that Cole Caulfield's coming out party, or is it just the Montreal Canadiens gutsy effort? You know what I mean? So that
Dude,
there's not the
even
individuality.
let's go back to the Blue
Yeah.
Jackets example. Like, dude, Adam Fantilli's there, right? Number 2
Yeah.
overall pick. Definitely okay. Wasn't gonna go first overall, but in another year, it could have been like the first overall pick. Um, but he's on a team that's they're kind of mid. Like they're not like nobody's rushing to go see the Jackets, but is that semifinal game to the one to lead the Jackets to the finals? Like, does he get a hat trick? And like everybody's like, wow, did you guys see that Fantilli kid? Like, you know what I mean? The
Yeah.
NHL just has a tough time of doing that stuff already. And then another thing that popped into my head, um, they I don't think that they'd be able to do their global series. So like the NHL kind of has
You got
like
to
the
pick and
first
choose what you can do here.
yeah, they have like their first month of the season allotted to heading overseas. And it kind of seems like you need at least a month for this tournament. So then to have teams coming back from playing overseas and then also then playing in this tournament, it kind of just gets to be too much. And
Yeah.
it's not like you could push the tournament to a
You don't
later
want to push the
time.
global, and you don't want to push the global series too far back too, because you don't want playoff implications involved there. I don't think just because of the
Yeah,
travel and everything, it's not a good look. Yeah, no, I think those are all really fair points. Um, yeah, I would still definitely be interested to see an implementation of some
100%.
sort, especially based off of the early results in the NBA.
Dude, try it out. It's fine. Just
Try
do
it
it.
out. The NHL
Try it.
doesn't do that enough. Try it out,
No.
NHL.
Yeah. We probably
You
won't
know,
see it. If we do, we won't see it for like 10 years. 5 to 10 years. So
come on, Gary, prove us wrong.
yeah, I don't think so. What do we have up next there, Cristian?
All right, well, we've got like something a lot less fun. It's the Pittsburgh Penguins and their star-studded power play that has 0 goals in their last 37 attempts, Dave. 0 for 37.
Dude.
I will say what's funny about this, and we'll see if Brian catches wind of this. I'm actually not going to mention to him. We'll just see if he ends up listening. That's
They don't even
actually
have the worst
they don't
power
even
play
have the
percentage,
worst.
right?
So, and they don't even have the second worst, man. I didn't realize the St. Louis Blues also have a worst power
Oh,
play,
really?
but the Cat.
I would have
Yes.
said Sharks still, even though that they've been playing a lot better recently.
Sharks are 22nd, so they're on the come up, man.
Dude,
They're
they were 32nd a month ago. Like
yeah.
they went up 10
Shout out
spots
to
in
the
a month.
Sharks,
Good
yo.
for them. Yeah.
So the Penguins are at 9.5, Blues are at 8.8, Caps at 8.6. So yeah, we'll see if Brian catches a bit of the trash talk. But Dave, how the hell does a Pittsburgh Penguins power play go for 37 when it has Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Jake Gensel, Chris Letang, Eric Carlson, Riley Smith, Rickard Rakell, like guys who are
none of them
offensive-minded players,
yeah,
right?
like dude, there's no way. Is Jeff Carter still there?
Jeff Carter is still there. I think he's on fourth line duties. Like honestly, he's like the Jason
He's not
Spezza
even
now.
dude. Honestly, throw him on
Yeah.
PP2, man. Like
Yeah.
it comes to the point where you gotta do something. You can't keep running out the same 5 guys every night and expecting it to go right, right? Like, dude, what's the definition of insanity?
Trying the same thing over and over again.
And expecting a different result, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So next game, who's behind the bench? Is it not Mike Johnson? Mike Sullivan. Mike Sullivan. Mike, I'm talking to you as, you know, a coach to coach right here, even though I'm not a coach. Mike, switch it up, dude.
Yeah.
Get something else going. I don't know if they've made any. Like I'm assuming that they've tried to make a switch, like that they have made switches. Because now it's a lot. Like it's making. If the Penguins are
making the rounds.
Yeah, the Penguins are making like national headlines. Like I saw the Leafs game yesterday, dude, and they had a segment about the Penguins power play struggles. Like if you're making Canadian national headlines and you're not winning games, you know, I get it because Sidney Crosby's there. He's still Canada's golden boy, whatever. But
still, dude, point stands.
It's the Penguins. Like, you know what I mean? Like they have held themselves for the past like what is it, like 15 to 18 years of being like on like as a franchise, like being like a step above everybody else. Like they have been the golden franchise for almost 2 decades now, right? It's kind of inconceivable to think of, you know, Sid, Gino, Letang, especially those 3 who have been there for like 15 years.
Yeah.
To have such an awful stretch of hockey. And it's not even like their 5-on-5 numbers are like pretty good. It just something, it feels like it's a mentality type of thing, right? Like it's 100%. Not for a lack of skill, 100%.
No,
right?
No, it's incredible. I wonder what the record is. I wonder how close they are to it. But yeah, it's definitely something to keep an eye on. I was just trying to find out who's on their coaching staff. I know that Todd Reardon is on it. I don't think Brian was too big a fan of Todd Reardon. And I wonder how much he has to do with it. Maybe he's the one who runs the power play. Just something to think about. And I think they started the year with Letang and Carlson on the same unit. I think they've gone away from that. I think they've tried both of them like separately on PP1. Neither one obviously has got a goal or anyone on the power play units. But yeah, it's interesting. They signed Jesse Puljujarvi today, so we'll see if he is the key to fixing this.
Yeah,
I'm not counting on it. I'm not counting on it.
Yeah, especially after like 2 resurfaced hips as well.
Yeah. Everyone loves their resurfaced hips lately. No Caps corner today.
Unfortunately,
no.
I know
Brian.
that they're playing well though. Like if I'm not mistaken, they're playing well. Pretty hot. So I
think they beat the Rangers last night, right?
I think they did. Yeah, that's a big win for them.
That's food for Brian's soul, especially. He hates the Rangers.
There's our Caps
Yeah.
corner actually for the week right there.
There you go. And on Saturday Night Headlines, Free said they're front runners for Ethan Bear. I actually thought he was going to say it was the Leafs, to be honest. So
I thought
we'll
so
see.
too.
We'll see if it ends up being the Caps and what that contract looks like. We'll talk with Brian about that next week. But Leafs, Dave, Leafs, man. We had a really like just easy win last night, eh? Like that was just a
Oh,
walk in the park, man.
awesome. Awesome. I
I
love
love
that.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
great time.
I'll
Like
be
you
honest,
just don't have to stress, you know what I mean? Like it's so nice to
and
be
we
like,
haven't had too many of those this year,
no, like
right? It's
I
a
think
dime a
maybe
dozen.
once. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
literally I off the top of my head, it was like Canucks game and then that.
Yeah, yeah. The Canucks game. I think we beat the Dallas early on in like a really convincing win too. That's it for me. That's all I can think of
Okay.
too.
I think
Um,
that game I was on a plane to Vegas.
Fair
So
enough.
I
Yes.
literally didn't even like
Yeah.
I was genuinely I was stressing
Yeah.
up in the air because I was like, as soon as I landed in Vegas, I was like, what was the Leaf score? Like I had to check. Like as
Yeah.
soon
Like,
as I
come on, come on.
got that hint of Wi-Fi on my phone, I was like, that's the first thing
Nice,
I'm going to.
nice.
And then I see like
Yeah,
4-1. I think it was like a 4-1 win. They
I
had
think
like,
so.
yeah, it looked like they
Joseph
like by
Wall,
yeah, by everything I saw, I was like, oh, good win for the Leafs. So, but
big
yeah,
time.
dude. So 4-0 against the Nashville Predators, who have been, playing pretty well recently.
Decent,
Like, they're
decent team.
not
Yeah.
uh they're not a powerhouse team by all means, but
They aren't President's Trophy winners like I predicted last year.
yeah, but they
No,
are
no.
definitely not a team that you could bet against, right? Like they
Yeah,
have some
they
pieces
can
there.
win on any given night.
100%.
Absolutely. We should
Uh
give credit to Sammy too. Like he got that shutout coming off of like what 3 absences in a row, being sick.
yeah,
I thought he was pretty good. Like granted, he had a easier night, but it's confidence boost, right? Like
yeah,
that's a great win for Sammy.
it's not like he's coming into that Sens game and the Leafs are giving
Yeah,
up like almost 40 shots, right? Like the Leafs were kind of on the opposite end of that. Yesterday was like
yeah.
I think we doubled them, like the Preds up in shots, but regardless, wins a win.
Dave, was
Another
there a predator that stood out to you? Because I just have to throw my guy out there. Did you notice that? Did anyone stick out to you
okay,
on the Preds
so
last night?
if you're saying this, I'm feeling like it's who got leveled? Was it Luke Evangelista that got smoked?
Evangelista did get leveled by McCabe, that was
Yeah.
a nice hit, clean hit, little scrum
Uh
afterwards. But
was it Phil Tomasino that I noticed?
I think I saw him get pummeled in front of our net too. So, but it wasn't him. It's the third guy of the
Tommy
trio.
Novak?
It's my boy Tommy Novak. He
Tommy
hit two
Novak.
posts last night. Two posts last night.
Was it him both
He,
times? Okay. So
yeah,
I for
he,
some reason
and
I
he
knew it
was
was
ripping
somebody on
them.
that line. Yeah, I knew it was somebody on that line. I
Yeah,
forgot if it was like event, maybe it was like 1-1 from somebody, but Tommy Novak,
yeah.
yeah. That line was honestly as advertised. You know who I'm kind of
It's the kid
disappointed in?
line. Hmm.
And
Who you disappointed?
and I'm gonna say this as like I'll say this as not a Leaf fan, dude. I'm
Yeah.
disappointed in Ryan O'Reilly. He was talking a lot of shit heading into this game.
Was he?
He scored twice against us. I believe
Yeah.
we played them in Nashville, right? And did we win that game or did we lose? I don't even remember. But I know he scored twice. So he did get
Yeah.
he got some vengeance over us. He was asked on a podcast recently and he was like, yeah, heading back to Toronto for the first time. Definitely gonna have a little extra jump in my step. Didn't notice him once all game. He was
Yeah. Okay.
He's like
Okay.
a ghost, dude. I
Yeah.
was like, if I was a betting man, I would have been
Forsberg
like,
too.
yeah, they play on the same line, right? So
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
whole line was kind of like the Tommy Novak line was I would hedge my bet and say like they were probably the only noticeable Nashville line. Like
I'm trying to think of anyone else I can
the
remember.
other three lines were they were just it was like bodies on the ice basically. Like nobody stood out.
Lots of fillers. Yeah.
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 Um
Yeah.
So, dude, the Leafs, man, like injured to all hell. Like we have a
Yeah. We
makeshift
should go back in
defense.
time, right? Well,
Yeah,
okay.
we
Who did we
will.
play before
Yeah.
this, right?
So we have
Played.
a makeshift defense with like Max Lajoie on it. We have
Yo,
like
okay.
some
I'm gonna be honest on Maxime Lejeune, though. He's not a
He's
He's
not
not
it.
it.
Yeah.
I've seen
He
enough
doesn't
of Max
listen, man.
Lajoie.
He doesn't have to be it because he's like
He
the eighth.
doesn't.
He's like eighth on the pecking
Yo,
order.
he's even lower
But
than
he
8. Like
is
I would say he's like 10,
9.
man. Like
Yeah.
so you know what it is though? It's that I think I'm comparing him to like Jordy Ben and Victor Mete, and
Oh,
maybe I
I would
shouldn't,
take,
right?
dude. I would
Those guys are
literally,
great.
I would literally kill for Jordy Ben on this. Where
Yeah,
is Jordy Ben
yeah.
right now, and why isn't
I don't
he
know, man. Yeah,
like why can't we
yeah.
give him
If he has a contract, okay, but if he's a free agent right now, call
like
my
why?
boy
What are we
Jordy Ben
doing,
up. Yeah,
dude? Even like
yeah. So maybe,
even Victor Mete right now, like, dude.
yeah,
God, it's the PD sport.
yeah.
You know what?
I
I
think
have
okay.
to say,
I think Mete signed. I can't remember where, but I think Mete signed. I don't know about Ben.
I will be fair to both William Lagesson, who was not in last
I've
night's
loved
game.
him, y'all. Yeah,
Yeah,
he was sick. He
I've
probably
liked
has
him
the Sammy
too.
flu.
And I have to say I know
Yep.
Simon Benoit's numbers, hitting his underlying numbers probably don't look the greatest, but I don't
You know
give a
what's crazy
shit.
though, Dave? They're actually good.
Are
They've
they
actually been good.
so?
I'm not even kidding you.
Because eye test isn't telling me that they have been good, but what I have noticed with Simone Benoit is
Yeah.
that guy will beat the shit out of
Also,
anybody.
that guy plays the simplest game you've ever seen, right? Like he doesn't make it fancy in any way
No,
whatsoever,
well, he
and that's
knows his
good.
limitations.
Thank
Good,
God, yeah, because
good.
like
Because
there's players like I've talked about like
Justin
Jake
Hall,
McCabe or yeah, Justin Hall is a good one too. I talk about Jake McCabe offensively. It's like, dude, you're not that guy offensively. It's okay. It's not a big
you don't
deal.
have to be that guy. You have other
Simon
guys that are
Benoit
that
doesn't
guy.
think he's that guy. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he knows
On
he's
this
not that
team,
guy.
yes, and I love that. I love that about
Good.
Benoit. And listen, I'll be honest. Like my comparison for Benoit coming into the year, my expectations were like Ben Harper. That was my
Oh,
expectation. Remember Ben Harper, 6'6"
dude,
guy that Babs is like, oh, he's a real good pro. He's a real good player.
dude,
He's a big guy.
that
He's gonna make this team. Right.
Ben
Yeah,
Harper was legitimately
yeah.
one of the worst defensemen I think I've ever seen.
Turnstile,
Like that guy was
absolute
bad,
turnstile.
and it's not
Yeah.
even like he wasn't quick
He was
enough
never
to
supposed to
hit
make that
anybody.
team though. Like the fact that he was on the
Yeah,
team, like,
yeah,
is a joke, right?
dude,
So
that guy was legit, and like he wasn't even like, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't even like AHL good. So like there was
yeah,
clearly a disconnect somewhere there.
yeah. We
But
gotta
yeah,
go to the
no,
real story here, Dave. Though, what is
yeah,
the real story about the Leafs right now? I actually can't believe we haven't talked about it. It's your
I know.
boy.
So
It's your
yeah,
boy.
so we did start. We started like, you know,
We're injured to hell.
yeah, injured to health. Our defense is makeshift. And then my next point was going to be, and even worse was losing Joseph Wall, who was legitimately having like,
Oh my god.
I would say like, okay, since this iteration because I'm not going to go before that. We could say James Reimer probably had a couple of performances. I can't talk on like Eddie Belfour before that, but like since 2016, who's had a better performance than Joseph Wall was having against the Ottawa Senators? Like maybe
Yo,
Anderson had
regular season, yeah,
no,
it's
yeah.
tough. You're probably gonna
Anderson
mention the
had
same game I was.
Anderson had that one series against Boston. I think it was like
The
what,
paddle save on
2017.
Pasternak, and I think it was game 5 or game 6.
I think
Right,
right up
that
until
was
the
the
end, dude, Anderson had like dude, like 5 or 6 games where he was like legitimately fantastic. Regular
yeah.
season though, I don't think Anderson ever had a performance like Joseph Wall was having, and he still had like 10 minutes to provide like one or two. Like he had
More
3 show-stopping saves, like
2
legitimate
on
goals.
Tarasenko.
He had 3 legitimate goals like stopped by minute 40 of the game. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like there was 20 minutes to go, like by after 2 periods. Crazy.
yeah.
He was electric. And so it looks like I believe the explanation was he missed his
This from
post.
Keefe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so he missed his post, and he
high ankle sprain.
picked up a high ankle sprain. So we have another player on the team on the injury list right now that are
Isn't
dealing with a
back
high
yet.
ankle sprain. Yeah, he's been out a month.
He might be another month, to be honest.
Yeah, the estimates kind of like vary. It kind of depends on the type of severity of the high ankle sprain. And from what I saw, and he wasn't able to put any weight on the leg, I was like, okay, I think like the generous safest return was like 4 weeks, so a month.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I
It sounds
saw
about right.
that.
The question is like, I don't know, like if high ankle sprains, they're supposed to be really terrible for players. I don't know if that changes for goalies. I don't know if it's like
I
because
could
you know
bet a
with
guess that it's not great
Dave,
regardless.
yeah, I think injuries are bad. I don't think they're good, right? Yeah, I know, man. I'm trying to just cope
We're
here,
just
Dave. I'm
trying
trying
to
to
talk.
cope.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but like
But
with
it,
goalies, it's usually groin. That's the one you always want to
oh, dude,
avoid,
I thought he popped his
right?
groin. I was like, oh,
I
that's
thought
his
so
groin
too.
right there.
I
I was
thought so
like,
too. I even thought knee based on how he was holding his leg after, right?
mhm.
Knee would be terrible too. I don't know if high ankle sprain, like I like I said, I know it's terrible for players. I don't know where it is on the totem pole for goalies. If that's like worst case scenario, or maybe it's actually good. I don't know.
It's yeah, I don't know if it's good, but it's like it's not the worst case. Yeah, 100%. It's a
Yeah,
mid case scenario.
mid case scenario. I like it. It's
Um,
mid.
yeah.
Yeah,
So Joe Wall he was working his way to be the starting goaltender. Like
de facto.
it kind of seemed like Keefe was giving him a lot more of the like the lion's share of the starts, and and it's also not like because Sammy hasn't been good, but you mentioned it before, like
Let's say
Sam,
Sammy was healthy, like he maybe gets one or two of those games. I think he played
yeah,
5 starts in a row. Like he's still
which
gets the
is
line share of the net.
which is what a 1B would take, right? Like you got it splits down. Like if it's a 1A and 1B, it's
Yeah,
like 3 and 2. You're never, I don't think it was ever going to be like it's not like Joe was going to take 5 out
every
of
single
5
game.
starts. Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's also not like they were going to try to do 1-1-1-1. Like you got to have some sort of consistency there. But
yeah.
the one thing I will say, for as much as I've loved Joe Wall's play and for how much I've wanted him to succeed and how much I genuinely believed in him to succeed, especially this season, I will say
It's your breakout player.
this is the perfect thing for Ilya Samsonov right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially last night. Like I would have said this before, like I would have said this heading into the game yesterday, but Ilya Samsonov now has confirmed that he is going to be getting at least a run of the starts for the next, let's just say hypothetically, a month. In relief right now, we have Martin Jones, who is no slouch. Like I would still consider
He
him
was
to be
pretty
an
good in
NHL
relief
goalie.
in that Ottawa game too. Yeah, I
Like
liked
he's still
him.
an NHL goalie. Like it's not,
Yeah,
he's not the greatest. Listen,
no,
if he had to be our starter, I would be like, oh, you need to go find somebody else because he probably
yeah.
won't get the job done.
But
But the
Dave, like,
guy
who are
knows
some of the names that we've survived before though? Like when we've lost the goalie,
Jonas
we've survived.
Enroth.
Jonas said, well, yeah, Jonas Roth, like that guy didn't even play a game for us. I don't think Michael Neuvirth didn't play a
Michael,
game for us. I don't think.
dude,
But
Michael
like we went
Hutchinson.
exactly. That's the one I was thinking of. Where it's like if we can survive Michael Hutchinson, I've got the utmost amount of confidence in Marty Jones as a 1 month goalie
Yeah,
backup, right?
that's all
Like
you need.
I'm
That's
not
all you
sweating
need.
Eric Shalgren. We survived Eric Shalgren, right? Like
Yeah, and Eric
we'll be fine.
Shalgren. Yeah, Eric Shalgren was fine until he
He
wasn't.
might have had like
Basically,
an eight. If I had to guess in his Leafs career, he probably had like an 892 save percentage.
yeah,
We
and I
survived.
think
We
I
were
think he
fine.
won like most of it. Like he won more
Yeah,
games
at
than I
least
think he
half.
lost. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So
Um.
I'm not sweating at all. I actually, to be honest, wouldn't even have minded seeing the Hildebeest, yo. His numbers are really good, but
Yeah.
maybe let him marinate some more.
I heard. Actually, I was watching a video today, and they were
Yeah.
like, a lot of talk was on them bringing up
I
Dennis
kind of
Hildeby
want to see
instead.
you, man.
I
If Sammy
think
was still sick yesterday, he probably would have got called up.
I think
Yeah.
the Leafs want to let him marinate. He was on record to kind of say like um he was like, yeah, listen, my thing is if I'm calm in my goal, I'm very good. It's when I
Okay.
start getting like he's very I was like, this is pretty like open and honest stuff. Like he's like, I'm not at my best when I'm not calm. That was like I think the quote.
This is from
But
Hildeby, you're saying?
this is Dennis Hildeby. Yeah.
Okay.
It was
Okay.
on the latest Steve Dangle video. Shout
Yeah.
out to
Okay.
Steve. He has Nick Barden come on for a Marley minute. And I was listening to that. I'm like, okay, maybe we'll pump the brakes on Dennis Hildeby. Like this is his first season in North America. Probably
Yeah.
take a little
On
bit of
pace
time
for
to
his
get used
first full
to.
season. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
maybe we'll let him marinate in the A little bit more. I don't think that there's a rush. Listen, there
No,
are
There's not.
there are other guys. I think you could probably find another guy for like if you need it, like if you're desperate for it, maybe for a couple of
I'm just not
games.
worried, man. I'm not worried. I'm not worried
I
about the
I'm
goaltending. Like I think people wrote off Samsonov way too early. I still think we forget that this guy
it
won
was
us the
so
first
unfair,
in
dude.
11 years, right?
It was
Like I'm sorry, 18 years.
yeah, dude, genuinely unfair to Samsonov. Like, okay, granted, he didn't have a great run of starts, man.
Yeah.
Let's not get over the fact that me and you weren't sitting here and being like, Sammy,
No.
Sammy, like you got to help us out here. You know what I
But like,
mean?
had you given up hope on him for the season? Like, I saw people saying like, "Yo, you might have to
Oh,
throw
you
him in a
got to trade
trade
him.
because
Yeah,
he's dead cash." And I'm like,
it's like
"Come
no,
on,
he's
come
not.
on, I'm
He
not
didn't
there.
regress to
I'm
that point.
not." And we
I
have a
think
worse defense this year,
the
right?
only
That's part of it too.
the only argument if Brian was here, he would have been
Yeah,
saying like, listen, he's seen Ilya Samsonov at his best and at his worst, and like he's Ilya Samsonov at his best is a 8 to 9 out of 10 goaltender. I would say 7 to 9 out of 10 goaltender, but dude, at his worst, he is a sieve. And we
yeah,
probably
yeah.
saw him at his worst more often than not, especially at the beginning of the
This year,
season. Um, but again, like
there's
that's
a
what I
lot of
said. Like
season left.
this is a good challenge for Samsonov. Like now he's guaranteed the
Yeah,
minutes back. Like, okay, stay healthy. Like
the
that's
net
sort of
is
thing.
his for a long run of time. Like he,
Mhm.
right? So he doesn't have to worry about someone behind his back that's going to take the job for a month.
Yeah.
Right? And then as soon as Wall's back, it's you can let's say he plays well, you can say, all right, we're back at square one. Who's going to prove they're the starter? That's a good problem to have,
Dude,
though,
I think even
right?
when Wall comes back, you don't even like
Yeah.
I wouldn't even rush him into like game like
Yes.
let Sammy lose it basically, right? Like if
Yeah.
he try to ease Wall back in, like especially if he's been out a month with a pretty severe injury.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Okay.
man, other than that, there wasn't really anything really to pick apart about that game. It was just kind of like the game against Nashville. The only thing I wanted to
Yeah.
say is we picked up 2 regulation wins, so it does a lot for us. Starting to
So
dispel the narrative of us being as good as the San Jose Sharks, who have been pretty good recently. So, um, uh, did you,
regulation wins are always good.
yeah, did
I'm
you want to bring
trying to
up
think.
anything else?
Shout out to David Camp, 2 goals in
Oh,
2 games. That
huge
goal against
back to
Nashville
back
was a
games, dude.
beauty.
He,
Yeah,
Austin
that's
Matthews,
my
who
boy
he's
David
coming for the
Camp.
lead. He's coming for
Yeah.
the goal lead
You
on
better
the team.
watch out, Austin. You better watch out, man. Shout out to my boy Noah Gregor. Picked up a Yenji. Yo, we'll take him as we get him. Fourth line's
Dude,
been looking all right. Ryan
I
Reeves.
was just about to say that fourth line, dude, even especially last night, even if Sheldon Keefe was rewarding that fourth line, and I think that also
But he also
included
like
Ryan
would throw
Reeves.
like Yarn Croc on the fourth line, like in place of Reeves. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's kind of what I would see too. We've got less than a minute here. I'll throw this little tidbit, touch on it next time. I wondered if what you kind of do with the bottom six is you go and try and aim for 2 third lines where they both play the same amount of time. Can you survive if you put Gregor, Kemp, and Yardencroke on a line, and then maybe it's a deadline ad with Robertson, Domi, and Blank? Something to think about. Just thought about it right now. Something to think about. Get us out of here, Dave.
Somebody, but you probably want somebody like, yeah.
I've thought
Okay,
about
yeah,
I've
it's
thought
something
about
to think about.
Monahan, right?
I think in the coming weeks we're definitely gonna have more trade talk and that
We've
type of
heard
stuff.
names on defense.
We didn't even get into that today, but we didn't even
Yeah.
have to. Like we didn't really hear anything. But I think we'll say shout out to Fubo, shout out to Razor. If you want to get your David Kemp Maple Leaf jersey, head to the NHL shop.